Oh, all my card gamers, guys, I am excited for today's episode. I got to tell you about some stuff. I'm going to talk about today LCGs, living card games, and are they cheaper than TCGs, trading card games? And if you're not familiar with the difference, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And hey, man, I'm all about being cheap. You guys know this. And so I'm going to talk about that because if we can save some money, let's save some money if we can have fun playing card games. But before I talk about that, a couple of things that I want to update you guys on news wise. The first is this: we have a Facebook group, if you aren't aware. We have a Facebook group called Cheap Card Gamer. I know, right? What a creative name. It should be an open and public group. Anybody should be able to join. There's no questions that you have to answer or anything. I always think that's weird. I tried to join a group recently, and I think it was like RPG fans or something like that. And there was questions when I joined. Like I had to submit my answers to questions to join. And one of the questions was, why do you want to join this group? It's called RPG fans. Isn't it obvious that I'm an RPG fan? That's why I want to join the group. Like, what is the point behind a question like that? But anyway, yeah, I tried to make it so that there's not any of those things. So check that out if you're on Facebook. Oh man, guys, I gotta tell you, there is some exciting things coming to this show. I can't spoil anything yet, but here's what I can say. Keep your eyes out on, if you're on the Facebook group, Cheap Card Gamer, or if you're on Twitter, follow me at Cheap Card Gamer 1 on Twitter. And that is the first, those places are the first places you'll see updates for stuff that's coming up. I'm very excited. I got some stuff that I want to share with you guys very soon, but there's not a lot I can say about it yet, but just like I say, keep an eye out. And I'm excited about some stuff that's coming up. Today, we're going to talk about LCGs and are they cheaper and better than TCGs right after this break. Trading card games are what you think about typically, I would say, when you think about card games in general. When you think about games like Magic and Pokemon, those are trading card games in the sense that you are collecting cards that could be traded one for the other. Typically you open up booster packs and boxes and things like that. So you know how that goes. Sometimes there is rotation of sets, and different times if you're playing the game with other people, there are different sets that'll be legal, and so older cards you're not supposed to use anymore. Sometimes that's the case. There's different formats that have different rules for that, but trading card games are tried and true. They've been doing it since the 90s, really, and they're still around now because they're fun games. However, have you played a LCG, which is a living card game? Living card game, and I did a review for a living card game actually on the channel here for Lord of the Rings Adventure card game, which is based on the Lord of the Rings learning card game, if you have not seen that. And in a living card game, which, by the way, if you're listening to this, there were some audio issues on that episode. I went back and tried as best I could to fix those audio issues. I just did that today. So if you're listening to that and you're bummed out because of the audio, check that out one more time and you can hear everything should be pretty well cleaned up now. So sorry about the issues on that. But anyway, one thing that is cool about the LCGs is you get everything that comes in the set in one box. So typically if you buy a box of whatever the game is for $30, $40, $50, whatever, it might be a bigger upfront investment. You might be paying $40, $50, or maybe even $60 for the box, but you get everything in the box, the whole set of cards and multiple copies if that's necessary of cards is what you get in the box. So you have everything. There's no further need to go out and buy booster packs or go on eBay and find a single card or anything like that. So you might hear that and say, wow, man, that's what I need to be playing, LCG, not these TCGs, because I hate trying to search after these super rares and ultra rares and all this crazy stuff. So LCGs, it's got to be cheaper, and maybe that's better for me, right? But are LCGs cheaper, and ultimately, are they better? That's what we want to sort of get at in the end. Well, I'll say this, and I know this is kind of a cop-out answer. It completely does depend on your play group, the people who you play these games with, and also with your personal play style. I have, for example, a friend who, and probably he's listening to this right now and maybe a smile is on his face. He loves going to like Friday Night Magic, for example, and going to the local game store, which unfortunately we haven't been able to do recently, but going to the local game store and having that game night and just seeing all the people, talking to people, seeing the regulars, talking to them about what kind of deck are you playing this time. Hey, how you doing? Trading. There's always trades to be had. So, hey, you guys looking for trades? You looking for any cards? Just sort of the social banter and that type of environment. Man, my friend, he loves that aspect of playing card games. And so for him, the trading card game is definitely going to be the way to go. Now, he'll probably enjoy some LCGs as well, but there's just going to be no replacement for that social aspect of the TCG experience. So if that's you, then you really need to remember that the LCG is going to be a lot different from that. That's more or less with the LCG. You're buying a big box, has all the cards in it, and then you sit down with you and your friends and you guys play, but there's not a lot of that sort of social experience as much, I would say. There's some aspects of it that are different. But anyway, one other question I would say is, do you like to crack packs? Are you a pack cracking fool? Did I say crack packing? Are you a pack cracking fool? If you're a crack packing fool, then I don't know what I can say for you. But if you're a pack cracking fool, then you're going to like the TCG, man. And I will say this, man, there's just some visceral enjoyment of just tearing open a pack and shuffling through it, finding that like really cool rare card that you're looking for, that you need for your deck. There's just nothing better than that. And so I understand, man, I understand the awesome feeling of opening a box and just cracking through packs and just looking for stuff and setting cards that you like to the side and seeing which ones you have, which ones you need is a really good experience. And I will say with the LCG, you don't really get that experience. So you need to take that into account. Because LCGs are limited, every box comes with the same 200 cards or whatever it is, 300 cards. Maybe you get a bigger one than that. You might feel the need later to buy expansions, or possibly if there's not expansions, or if you have all the expansions for that game, then you might feel the need later to buy other games. That could be true with trading card games as well, but hear me out on this. If you buy an LCG and you got, 300 cards in the box, which is good, that's a good amount of cards. And you go through that, and you could probably build several different decks with that. Let's say you just absolutely enjoy whatever game it is. And you're playing with your friends, you guys really enjoy it, you try a bunch of different decks. Inevitably, you're going to play through most any kind of deck that you could make with that amount of cards. And then you have to just either keep replaying that, or you're looking for more cards, or you're looking for another game. And a lot of the successful LCGs will release expansions. That's not uncommon. Most of them do. But there again, now you're having to pay whatever it is, $20, $30 again for another expansion and a group of cards. The counter to that is whatever those boxes cost is still less than a booster box of a trading card game in most cases. And with that trading card game booster box, you still, most of the time, don't get everything you want or need. And you certainly don't get a complete set of every card. So I would say in that regard, the LCG is definitely cheaper. However, it may leave you wanting more. And if you're going to end up going to other games anyway, then that kind of brings up the point of, well, why not just do the TCG? Because am I really saving money here? So that's something to think about. One other thing to think about concerning that word value is cards don't have a resale value for LCGs outside of the whole package. I can't take Lord of the Rings living card game and take, a really good card, Gandalf, and go and sell it for $25 because nobody can do anything with just Gandalf, unless like their dog chewed theirs up or something. But nobody can do anything with that one card. You kind of need the whole package to play. And so the whole package may be worth something. Each individual card is not. However, with TCGs, you can have individual cards that are worth, even when you're done playing, you can sell those cards back and recoup some of your money. Now, I will warn you guys, and hopefully you know this, you're typically not going to get back close to what you invested in buying the cards in the first place. However, I think we know that when we go into playing a game that it's about the fun, hopefully, not as much about the investment and hoping to make money off of something. I think we would be doing card games wrong if we did that way. But uh, I'll tell you a story about this that'll illustrate that point, and then I'll give you my final verdict. Duel Masters trading card game, which I was very big into around 2004. If you haven't heard of Duel Masters, it's probably kind of a cross between Pokemon and Magic, sort of. Anyway, it's a pretty fun game. If you haven't tried it and you get a chance to check it out, you should. However, I bought a whole bunch of the cards in 2004. And I'm talking about booster boxes, collection. I actually went to my local game store, and the manager's personal collection, he was selling his personal collection for like a couple $100, and there was tons of cards. And so I said, man, there's nothing better than me sitting down with just a buttload of cards and tooling around with them. So I ended up buying everything. And I probably invested, I'll be honest with you guys, I probably invested like $400 or $500 in that game, like real quick. And it was cool. Me and my friends played around with the cards. I built a bunch of different decks. I organized it. I shuffled them around and everything. And, I took them to college with me. Me and some of my buddies played at school. And I got a lot of fun out of it. It was good. I got some mileage out of it. And then inevitably, we kind of move on to other things. And then the cards get tucked in a box and put on the shelf, and they start to gather dust. And, later on in my married life, this would probably be 10 years after that. We're going through some stuff in the garage, and I come across that box of Duel Masters cards, and I looked at that, and my wife is just laughing at me like, why? We just get rid of that stuff. And I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I want to check this stuff out and see if it's worth anything. So you do a quick eBay search. Guys, I was amazed at what that card game, Duel Masters, had not been around for years at the time that I looked that up, and maybe that's part of why some of the cards had value. But I was selling some of the individual cards on eBay for like $40. There was others, those were like the most expensive, but there was others that I was selling for $20, $25, and $15 and not having a hard time selling them for those prices. And I want to tell you, I probably made a good $200 or $300 back just on selling some individual cards. So for that amount of money that I invested in that and the amount of fun I got out of it, and now I still got that box of commons and uncommons. You're going to have a hard time unloading the commons and the uncommons. But so in that respect, there is something to the TCGs where you have like a staying value that maybe you don't have with an LCG. So that's something to take into account before you just look at the price tag and say, hey, I get the whole set here for $50. Over there with Magic, I got to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get the whole thing. I wouldn't quite look at it that way. Although, what is the answer to the questions? Are LCGs cheaper? And are they better? Well, let me just first off say, I would not say necessarily that they are better. Are they cheaper? Generally, I would say you can be cheaper with LCGs than you can be with TCGs. Although I don't think that's always the case. You just need to look up every individual game, think about how well it will fit with your play group and your play style, and how much fun it'll be, and is it worth that investment? That's the way I think that it should be looked at. Anyway, keep your eyes on this channel because I've got some good LCG talk coming to you guys in the very near future. So keep listening for that, and I'm going to bring it to you soon. This is Cheap Card Gamer. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Y'all have a wonderful day.